What's up, everybody? It's Sunday night. There's no pay-per-view tonight, but there's us, the podcast, that comes to you live from parts unknown. This is the state of the WWE on the Joe Cronin Show. Today, youtube.com/Joe Cronin Show and ragenetradio.com. Chris Tosevich is here again. We're doing a big podcast here, talking about Daniel Bryan, CM Punk. Stefan checks in with a segment of voice calls. All that and more in just a second here on the Joe Cronin Show. We're broadcasting live from parts unknown, but if you're listening from parts unknown, then give me a hell yeah.
Give me a hell yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Stone Cold Steve Austin, bring him back and I'll come in my pants. All right, so you can follow me on Twitter now since I started that 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, at Joe Cronin Show on Twitter. Thanks to all the new followers. My phone is blowing up, but that advertising is going to work. You can also leave us a voicemail at ragenetradio.com. Click the pink icon on the left and leave your wrestling rage or anger, comments, questions, or sex fantasies right there for me. I'm joined today again by Chris Tosevich. What's up, dude?
What's up?
That's right. As soon as you talk, the music dies. That's how I plan that.
That's what I do.
All right. Oh, man. All right. So let's start off with Daniel Bryan. Everybody's talking about, what's happening tomorrow night on Raw, what's going to happen, blah, 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 blah. And I think you're obviously going to see, well, first let me just turn this echo off that I'm getting. There it goes. Good. What you're going to get tomorrow night on Raw, WWE, many wrestling outlets have leaked that there's been like a barber's chair and stuff like that ordered by WWE so that it's obvious tomorrow they're going to attempt some kind of corporate makeover with Daniel Bryan. Closest thing I can think of that's like this was when Vince McMahon tried to give Stone Cold Steve Austin the corporate makeover. Remember that?
Yep.
He came out in the suit and everything. I think this is going to be a lot different, I think. This is going to be more playful PG. But
also, it's going to be more degrading to Daniel Bryan, I'm sure.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Stone Cold was a very strong, badass character where Daniel Bryan's still got that kind of, you're right, it's going to be an embarrassing type of thing.
Like, waiting for Stone Cold to snap is one thing. Waiting for Daniel Bryan to snap, I mean, maybe we'll see it, which would be awesome. But, I mean, it would be so much of a surprise as opposed to Austin just dropping stunners,
Yeah. I can't imagine they'd want to cut his beard either right now because he's got such, they're selling, I think, I don't know if you know this. I've been talking about him selling beards for weeks. I don't know if they're selling them, though.
But here's the thing. Keep in mind that if they do shave his beard, which they have been kind of teasing with the whole, I don't know if you've noticed the WWE app, which is Shave Daniel Bryan's Beard. It's a little flash game you can play and actually shave his beard.
Right, yeah.
If they do, he could have an angle where he buys his own beard and wears it, forcing the fans to also, in solidarity, buy beards from WWE and put them on, like, you know what I mean? Almost like the little Sheamus kids who make their own.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I think there's so much. They could almost do anything and make money.
If they want him to be the face of the company, they need to sell shit to kids other than just T-shirts. I mean, Cena has armbands and fucking anal beads and all sorts of shit. So if Daniel Bryan had a beard or something that kids could put on, like that would really cement him as face of the company.
I think that they could get away with anything, but I think they could just get away with selling the beards and not even touching his beard,
Yeah, true.
It would be interesting to see if they asked the crowd what they wanted or whatever. I don't know. I'm actually interested in this. I haven't been interested much in Raw in a while. I'm very interested.
Or a beard versus hair match.
You're right, yeah. But I'm interested to see what happens for that. But that's definitely happening tomorrow on Raw. So, there's no question about it. The stuff has been ordered. They talked about the corporate makeover. Obviously, that may be even the first segment of the night. Or it may be the last segment of the night where they tease it right at the beginning, which is more likely, Stephanie and Triple H or Vince or somebody comes out and says, tonight we're going to have a corporate makeover, type of that. That's how I expect Raw to start. Anyway, moving on from the Daniel Bryan stuff. CM Punk recently, in a comment in a little, I think he was on a TV show or I forget where I read it. I read it earlier on Twitter a couple times, and then I was like, all right, I want to kind of talk about this. Talking about how much he likes being heel better than a face, and I think a lot of people would feel that way, obviously, so it's not an uncommon thing. But do you think, I mean, he's going to do this thing with Brock Lesnar, and after that, I mean, I feel like if Daniel Bryan continues on the path that he's on and the people cheer for him even louder, at some point, I mean, we need a heel. I mean, this is too much. Randy Orton, CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, John Cena. I mean, there's too many baby faces.
Yeah.
And there's no good. I mean, I don't know who's the good heel right now. I mean.
Well, you know they're turning Orton. I mean, it's pretty apparent that briefcase just leads to a heel turn. You know.
Right. And it's got to be against Bryan, which I think obviously we're going to see it at SummerSlam, but.
Everyone's been talking about it so much. I don't see Vince going through with it.
Because he hates that. I mean, everyone, it would have been perfect if Christian was Jeff Hardy's attacker years ago, but because everyone figured that out pretty easily, it died. And then we got the awkward Matt Hardy thing, which I think was stupid because I don't care if most people or 30% of the audience knew or had an idea it was going to be Christian. I think that would have been just so much more interesting.
Yeah, Vince can't keep saying like, fuck it, they know, have Hornswoggle win it. Like, it's not good business to just give them a red herring just because they figured it out. If it's good storytelling, just keep the good storytelling. If anything, it'll be a shock that they still went through with it after everyone kept talking about it.
Right. And now everybody wanted to see Dolph Ziggler win the Money in the Bank at WrestleMania, and that didn't happen. But then the next night you got it, and that was
exactly.
That wasn't too bad. Although it was like, well, why'd you just give that away on Raw when people paid a lot of money for WrestleMania? I'm a little confused.
A lot of people go to WrestleMania, go to the Raw afterwards. To be fair,
but you're right, and so that didn't bother me too much. Plus, it was kind of like a hangover thing where, here's the bonus. Here's your bonus kick.
Right.
So, and obviously it was a great decision because the crowd exploded. Like everybody came in their pants.
I think that helped the pop because everyone expected it at WrestleMania, and even though it's WrestleMania, so everyone's gonna pop anyway, to get that extra pop on Raw when everyone's like, "Fuck, it didn't happen. Oh shit, now it's happening."
Yeah.
And then bam, like that guarantees a WrestleMania pop at Raw.
Yeah.
So that was almost a smart move in my opinion.
And that crowd was crazier on Raw than at WrestleMania anyway, or at least
that's where Fandangoing came to play.
That's right. Yeah, everybody was hyped. That what I'm starting to think. WWE, now Fandango had already debuted, right? He debuted months before.
He won at WrestleMania.
That's right. He won at WrestleMania.
That was his first match, yeah.
That's right. Okay. I forgot all about that already because that WrestleMania was so terrible. But you know what they should do is every year after WrestleMania, the Raw after WrestleMania, they should start doing promos for a new star, and they should come out that night on Raw. Right?
Make it like a regular advertised thing.
Right. So every year after WrestleMania, there's one superstar who debuts, and for months.
But how would they market that without a cheesy "who's in the box" type of thing?
Well, I don't know. It could just be enough. Imagine if anybody, the Wyatts, the anybody had been built up on promos for 2 months, and then the night after WrestleMania, that crazy crowd now knows that we're finally going to see this person that's been doing these promos.
But that would kind of make it a little less organic because when they show up, they'd have to be like, well, now that I'm here, here's why. It's like, well, you knew you were coming here for months. Like, how come this is so important to you all of a sudden? When the Wyatts showed up, they showed up randomly just to attack Kane when Kane was vulnerable after Daniel Bryan left him. It made sense, it didn't just perfectly happen to line up. You know what I mean?
But, like, Fandango he showed up and just, he just showed up and danced. I don't mean like the Wyatts. I don't think they should introduce, like, somebody.
Like the Shield.
They're different. Yeah, they're different. Yeah. That's the Wyatts don't need the WrestleMania surprise day after WrestleMania surprise because they're just already people were interested anyway. They were kind of roguish, but just a generic guy who they're the Funkasaurus. He could have they could have done that with him. They could have built him up. Imagine if they had done it then. You build him up as this beast running over people in the ring with these black and white promos. And then all of a sudden, the day after WrestleMania, he comes out to the friggin' dance music. People would have, they would have lost their minds. Like, I don't know if it'll be a good way to lose their minds, but all right. So anyway, this is YouTube.com/Joe Cronin Show. It should just be called Joe Cronin Wrestling Show because that's all we do here. We talk about wrestling and WWE and TNA and Vince's hemorrhoids here with Chris Tosovich. You can follow on Twitter, and you got to do that because I just started a Twitter, and it's blowing up already today. I don't know what's going on. At Joe Cronin Show, we're going to be giving away some DVDs and WrestleMania Blu-rays and shit, and that's really cool. I'm also going to be doing a ode to my new subscribers towards the end of this, and we have some of your voice comments. You can go leave a voice comment for the show, and we play them live here on the podcast, and we respond to them and whatever else you got to say. You can leave those voice comments by going to RageInternetRadio.com. And on the left side of the page, there's like a pink icon. You click it, then you click record, and you use your computer mic to do that. And you can it's up to 90 seconds. If you want to go crazy, go crazy. If you want to ask a question, do that. And whatever you want to do. Plug your freaking YouTube.
The mic.
Yeah. Whatever you want to do, I don't care. I get death threats on there. It's a lot of fun. But we're doing everything that is wrestling. So CM Punk wants to be heel. So I think the whole point of we didn't even get to the point of what I was saying is we did get to the point, but when he's done with Brock Lesnar, I gotta believe CM Punk and Randy Orton, if not one of them, if not both of them, are turned back to heels.
Yeah, I agree.
It has to happen, or you know what? John Cena turns heel, and then nobody else does. How about that?
That's too much. I don't think they're ready for that yet. Daniel Bryan needs to prove that he's making money consistently before they can take a dip in Cena.
Right. And I still think John Cena's stuff is going to sell big time, though. I don't even know. He might even get over with people again, like in a different way. I don't know.
His heel turn is going to be written very, very well. I can guarantee it. And that alone might be enough to sell T-shirts.
So you think it's going to happen?
Eventually, it will. He's not going to be face for the rest of his career. I can guarantee it.
And you know what? If it does happen, it's going to be insane because I just don't. Even though I know it can happen and things like that can happen, and that's why I just said it could happen. What do you think about it happening? I just don't believe it's going to happen. So when it does, whenever it does, I hope that nobody sees it coming. There's no slow Anakin Skywalker build-up where you start to see him become more of an asshole. I hope that it's Hulk Hogan, Bash at the Beach.
Perfect example. Mm-hmm.
Which I hope they don't try to recreate that same thing, but I mean, it will get recreated if he turns like that. And I don't know how they're doing it or if they're thinking about doing it now, but they have to. It would infuse the WWE with some kind of energy that is lacking. You're not turning the TV 14 again. It's still PG, but him turning heel will roll some heads, and I think they'll get their pay-per-view buy rate will go up, their Raw ratings will go up. So I mean,
if and when he turns heel, I want to see shit being thrown into the ring. I want to see kids crying. I want it to be a huge ordeal where it's the end of an era, and literally they show parents covering their kids' eyes from the crowd and stuff.
You know what they should do? They won't do this because it's just too sensitive. But the greatest thing in the world would be I'm so sick. I'm so sadistic, but. And I wish it was the Attitude Era because this would be even more priceless. If they, how he does all the Make-A-Wish stuff. If he started to do promos with one kid who really wasn't sick, but that he was an actor, and for weeks they cut promos on this child, and I don't know, he did something dastardly to this kid, or something like that, or whatever. I don't know, but there's so many...
No, all right, here's how it would work. What they'd have is a kid saying that he really wants John Cena to win at WrestleMania, and that's his one wish, and he only has until a week after WrestleMania to live. So John Cena is fighting whoever he's fighting, like Triple H or someone, and he's rising above, and he's just about to win, and right before he hits the AA on Triple H, he stops, puts Triple H down, lays down, lets Triple H pin him. Flips off the kid.
Oh my God. There have to be something behind why he's so mad at the kid, though. That's the problem. What's he mad at an 8-year-old for?
I'm sick of these goddamn wishes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That would be. I guess none of that. That's a little extreme. That stuff. But what he could do is after his heel turn, say, you know what it's like to wake up every day in your email and you get another wish from another little whiny son of a bitch. Like, these kids get everything. You know, they got more than I ever got. Or, you know, well, that wouldn't work because he was rich himself. But I don't know. It's none of that would work. So
We're
everything
going
I'm
too
saying,
far with this.
yeah, this is ridiculous.
Yeah,
We're overthinking this far beyond. When I was doing indie, when I was wrestling at this little promotion here, I never went back. But I always thought it would be really good if, like, you know, one of the wrestlers came out and cut a promo how he had to retire. You know, there's like, you know, 80 people there from the local place or whatever, you know, who watch the promotion every week. And the guy comes out who's been there a while and says he has cancer and he has to retire, unfortunately. At this time, he doesn't know if he'll ever come back or what's going to happen. And then for me to just, and he's on crutches, you know, he's already started the chemo. And I come out and then just attack him, you know, that type of thing. I mean, I thought the people would be furious with that.
Yeah.
You know, I want to
That's
see
cheap heat,
something
though.
like that.
That's like the cheapest heat you can get.
Right. It is very, what is it called? Cheap. There you go. I guess cheap is fine.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So here's leading into this next segment. I told you go to ragenetradio.com and you can click the pink icon, leave a voicemail. Someone who does this regularly is Stefan. Does it all the time. Stefan. And here's what he sent me 3 days ago.
I ask you for a chainsaw to cut wood, and you hand me a fucking screwdriver. What am I supposed to do with that? And that fucking screwdriver is this stupid, dumbass reality show, whatever you call it. You understand? And just, like, looking at
Total Divas Live. That's what it's called, right?
Yep.
On E, okay.
the previews or commercials just makes my heart cave in. Because we don't ask for too much, but just for some real pro wrestling. Good ass, entertaining pro wrestling. But you slap us in the face, and oh my God, like, oh fuck you, we're gonna do this instead. And oh my.
What do you think about this? Have you seen this?
All right. Total Divas I have not seen, and I was not against it at first, but just completely uninterested 100%. Until I learned that it's actually not so bad when it comes to the backstage stuff. Like they call Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson, for instance, and other stuff like that. In all, though, I mean, I think Stefan has to realize that, especially with The Rock going to Hollywood and making so much money and all these wrestlers really realizing that, you know, the WWE is good right now, but it's so hard to get into. Like, what's forcing good wrestlers to actually go out there and make money? And that's money. And you can't have money without little kids and girlfriends and wives and everyone else watching the same program you're watching. You really kind of have to rope in everyone just to be able to pay John Cena his multi-million-dollar contract, you know?
Yeah. I'm unfair because, you know what, I usually watch things and then review it. I haven't seen it, but when I do see those Twitter pics of the show of, like, Daniel Bryan in the plane with Cena and everybody, it's that actually I was like, nah, maybe I should watch this. But I think it's the reason why I put the shows down so much is just my hatred for the divas in the WWE. They're pathetic.
Aside from Caitlyn and AJ, yeah.
Right, exactly. In fact, they could have
Naomi.
better matches.
Naomi is amazing too, but
and there's the Paige or in NXT, and there's a couple other girls in NXT who are really actually pretty good.
Right.
So there's potential, but will that ever happen? Because it's my hatred towards the divas, and it's my hatred towards the way WWE uses these women. And the prime example of just, pulling out a 10-inch penis and then deciding that you're not going to use it is Gail Kim. Because they're what the fuck kind of analogy did I just make?
I don't know, man.
What's that about? Oh, my God. Whatever. Why?
So Gail Kim being the 10-inch penis, go on.
Yeah, Gail Kim has these amazing matches in TNA, but then she comes to WWE, and it's just garbage. It's like just a waste. A waste of time, a waste of talent. It's amazing that she gets paid quadruple the amount that she got paid in TNA in WWE, but didn't do a damn thing.
Mm-hmm.
But then she goes out and has that amazing match at TNA Slammiversary, which was one of my favorite women's matches of all time, like a top 10.
There's no denying Gail Kim's skill.
Right. and it's just not used. It's not utilized. It doesn't make sense. They could do what they did in TNA. I mean, I love the biggest thing about TNA. My biggest compliment to TNA is their women's division now and in the past. They never have had a bad women's division. It's always been awesome. I miss the beautiful people, the original, the girls. When they come down, I was like, man, this is pretty. In fact, Velvet Sky, I think at the time, couldn't even wrestle that well. But their gimmick and their attitude was so good that it was like, wow, why can't WWE do this?
And the marketing, calling them knockouts and enforcing the fact that they're violent and not just,
Right.
dealing with petty bullshit and stumbling around the ring,
That being said, I did cut some promo or podcast about how I hate that too. I hate both things, and I just call it the women's title. How about the women's championship? It's not the knockouts. It's not the divas. It's, at least in the WWE, it is the divas. It's not because they're not wrestlers. You're a bitch. I'm a bitch. I broke a nail. I'll break your face. I'm a bitch. That's all it is. That's all they do. So when they came out to with the Miz to talk about the show, I didn't care because it was like, other than the nipple that I saw, it was all just crap. I don't know. Anyway, but it got great ratings, and I don't know if it still is, but it's probably going to keep getting good ratings. So that's
I mean, here's the thing: it's not for you, it's not for me. It's like Saturday Morning Slam when they didn't allow headshots or like punches to the face or whatever the hell. Like, we didn't care about Saturday Morning Slam. Maybe there was a good match here or there, but no titles were changing hands. None of it mattered. It wasn't for us. It was for kids to watch.
Right.
And this is for people who like gossipy bullshit to watch.
Right.
And if you don't like it, then whatever. Like, just let the WWE make their money and keep enjoying the product. They're not putting it on. Yes, they're promoting it kind of a lot right now, but they're not putting on like 30 minutes of Raw is devoted to the show.
Right.
It's a separate show that you don't have to watch, and you don't even have to put on that channel,
If there were quality women's matches, I would have never complained about it. I never would have said Divas sucks, because I don't think Saturday Morning Slam sucks, and I didn't think Superstars sucked when I was a kid. It's the demographic. They're covering every demographic, so that's great. I have no problem with that. That's great. Product expansion. It's beautiful. But I think it's just the anger that I have because of the women's division sucking. When you see them put all this other work into the divas, it's like, well, why don't we start teaching somebody how to wrestle, or letting AJ wrestle the way that she probably can that we don't see.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'd like to see AJ versus Gail Kim, but that will never happen. But it should.
Well, the other issue is I mean, they really don't get paid all that much, and it's even more difficult to get into wrestling if you're a woman than if you're a dude. So based off of that, like, who's out there trying to be an amazing female wrestler? It's kind of, I mean, have you ever met anyone in your life who is a female and was trying to be a wrestler, like outside of like wrestling rings and the whole wrestling community? Because I haven't.
You're right.
Like, where are they all?
Yeah, it's like they come out of the woodwork, like out of like, whoa, shit, like where did you come from? Yeah, it's like
they're working with what they got, and at the same time, like, there's, I don't know, like they're just not thinking about it, and they're not going for it, and there's really no paycheck for them, so they're kind of just skimming the barrel. You know what I mean?
All right. So we talked with Stefan, who left me those messages. He left me a ton of other ones, but we kind of covered most of it already. The Divas reality. Let's talk about this. Let's move a little bit away from WWE for a second here, and talk a little bit about BJ Whitmer injured, taking a pile driver, I believe on the outside apron at a TNA event. So, first of all, mostly the pile driver went away because it was just an unsaid thing that, we're not doing this move anymore. It's too dangerous type of thing. But it's been popping up more and more recently when Punk did it, Bubba Ray did it, or Bully Ray, rather, did it at Slammiversary, I think it was. He told Sting he was going to do a pile driver. I thought that was a great promo, by the way, and then he came out and did it. It was really cool. He pulled the mat up and did it on the concrete or whatever. That was awesome. You can do a pile driver a million times and never hurt somebody if you're doing it the right way. But whenever someone picks someone up with their head between their legs and then jumps, and their head's below tucked underneath the thigh, that's every time when someone gets injured. And this guy's hurt. I don't know how bad. I think you knew some more information about this than I know.
Yeah, initially he couldn't feel the right side of his body, and then apparently the latest reports of someone who talked to him said that he can feel on the right side of his body. He's still in a lot of pain. It's most likely a ruptured disc. There were no fractures, and there's something the size of a softball on his back. So
Wow. That's
he's
some-
hurt, but he's not. It's not a draws incident or anything like that.
Yeah,
so far.
that's good.
So far.
And it's reminiscent of Stone Cold Steve Austin and Owen Hart when you saw Owen Hart do the inverted tombstone pile driver on Stone Cold, which I remember when it happened, and he flipped Stone Cold up, but Stone Cold was facing him because normally a regular pile driver facing away from you, you tuck their head in and you land on your butt and roll them over. And instead, Stone Cold goes up and Owen Hart has him up like he's going to do a tombstone, but I thought maybe he would spin him back around. But instead, Owen Hart puts his legs out straight and then invertedly pile drives Stone Cold Steve Austin's head. And I remember thinking that when I saw it on TV, I was like, "Whoa, what the fuck was that? What the hell is he doing?" I'm like, "Man, somebody could get hurt," thinking, and then he was hurt, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, like, duh. Like, the only other time I ever was, there's been times when I've been concerned for wrestlers in the ring, as a wrestling fan and as a person who's done wrestling, but mostly as a wrestling fan. And the first time I was concerned for someone, number one would be number one would be Mick Foley going off the cell.
Yeah.
Because it was just like that just happened. But number two, right behind that, is that Stone Cold pile driver because it's just, and then sure enough, Stone Cold never was right after that. Amazingly, he just began his run. And
now what's different for me is when I was watching that Stone Cold Owen Hart pile driver, I thought it was kayfabe at first because I had never seen Owen Hart use that move before, and because Austin was legitimately injured after it, and you could tell, it seemed like, oh, okay, he used that move that's very, very rare to sell the injury. And then it wasn't until after the fact where I read the reports where I was like, oh my god, that really injured him. Why the hell did he use that move? It's
right.
ridiculous. I thought it was kayfabe during the time, even though it was that serious.
Yeah, you're right, and it's hard to tell. The lines are blurred, but you can definitely, and it almost made you think that because it was like, well, is that why they did it like that, so that it would look so devastating and it would make you believe it? But it's clear that his head, you don't do that. You don't drop someone straight on their head like that. You can search the archives for a pile driver where that happens and it doesn't, and you can search the archives for a tombstone that happens and it doesn't. The guy's head always stays chin under his nutsack. I think there's been a couple almost botched tombstones. One that I believe it was the one Kane did on The Undertaker at Hell in a Cell when Kane debuted, where he kind of just dropped The Undertaker. He didn't quite lift him right. And luckily, The Undertaker tuck and rolled, and Kane kind of caught him at the last second to put him down the right way, so it looked okay, but it was very close to not being okay.
Part of the fault is often with the person taking the pile driver again, because what you're supposed to do is grab the bottom of your opponent's thighs so that when they land, you can push off their thighs. Like, for instance, everyone knows Tommy Dreamer against RVD, that famous pile driver where RVD bounces like a mile in the air. That's because that's like the best possible way to sell it, where you push off as they're landing.
Yeah.
Steve Austin, for example, since he was faced the other way, he had his arms around Owen's waist, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
which
that's
is no possible way to protect himself.
Yeah, it was like an ultimate spike. It was
right.
It was. It makes you wonder, like, what were they doing? Like, what? That's the question I wanted to ask. Was, hey, Owen, did you guys talk about doing this? Like, what happened? And then Vince was really mad about that, so they cut his belt on him a few months later. No, I'm just kidding.
They cut
That was terrible. Oh, man. I might edit that out. He's... All right. Anyway, so that's the end of that. So it's poor Owen, though. He was the prominent... He was the exact guy that, Vince just would never let quite, become... He would never be the champion. In that era, he would have never, ever been the champion. He may have become champion towards the I don't know, the end of the Attitude Era or the mid, or I don't even know. I don't think he would. Maybe he would. He never would have been champion. That's it. He never would have done it, which I think is sad, because I think he at some point deserved somehow. But then again,
if he was, it would have been like Christian's reign or Daniel Bryan's reign. It would have been short-lived and kind of a mockery of itself. You know what I mean?
right, exactly. And I guess it makes sense. But he was that too big, too small, But he was so good when I watch some of those matches now, and it's like, oh man, that was a good match. He had some good matches with Hunter. Hunter had some great matches with Mick Foley at that time, Mankind rather. Remember, I saw them at the Social Music Circus, and I remember the finishing move was like Mankind hit Triple H in the head with a bag of potato chips. It was like, what? Like he hit him with the potato chips, and then he fell over a trash can and hit his head, and that was it.
Well, back in that day, like when you were buying action figures, they'd come with like a bag of potato chips because that's the shit that they were hitting each other with on TV.
They hit themselves with a shovel. Like It was so good at the Social Music Circus. There's like 800 people there or something. The ring, they just fall out of the ring onto you. I remember me and Leah went there about 4 years ago, 3 years ago or 4 years ago, and we got front row tickets. It was like the day before the event, and I was like, we're going to sit in the back, but whatever, anywhere there is good. And I clicked on these tickets, and they were the front row tickets. I'm like, how the hell are these still available? I slapped CM Punk in the thigh, and he just gave...
Those seats, it's just a giant lumberjack match with the crowd.
It is. They roll out, and they're right there. You could yell, they can hear everything. Which I said some pretty horrific stuff to Punk. And at the time I was mad because I thought he had all this potential and he wasn't using it. And it wasn't his fault, though. It was WWE's fault.
Then why were you yelling at him?
Because I was like, I don't know. I was trying to like piss him off so maybe he would, start stomping around the office to get more time or to change the character.
Taking credit for lighting the fire?
No. Maybe though. I was saying stuff like, back in, I was talking about his matches with Daniel Bryan. I was yelling at him about, personal stuff. And I was like, yeah, you're straight edge. Like maybe you should drink a beer and then you could get to grow some balls and learn how to ask for a good match. Maybe you could cut some promos. How about that? You ever thought about cutting some promos? Maybe cut your hair. Maybe cut your hair and Vince will look at you. All kinds of weird stuff to him. And
it's terrible.
It's funny because I was pissed at him. I hated him at the time. He wasn't wrestling. It's whatever. I don't know.
Get a haircut and suck Vince's dick, asshole.
Well, you know what? Everybody liked him too at this time. This was when he still came out to the metal music, and everybody liked him kind of. He was the good guy. I did not like that. The minute he turned heel, I was like, yes, this is what I wanted. And
He's not great as a heel.
I'm not even the biggest fan of him in the ring. Like I don't even like. I mean, he's good, but I'm not the biggest. I like Daniel Bryan better in the ring. I just like him better. I don't like all the kicking that either one of them do. By the way, we can talk about style of wrestling. I love the super kick from Shawn Michaels. I hate the just the leg kicks to the stomach and the backs. And all the feet work. I don't.
You don't like any of the Japanese kicking styles?
No, I don't. I don't know why. It's unimpressive to look at, I feel like. And I feel like people just get a big red mark. I guess it's an alternative to the chop. Instead of chopping the guy.
And in Japan, they're all stiff. Like, they're all pretty much like a degree below full force. And that's how the Japan style is.
Yeah.
The problem is when they all bring it over here. Like, for instance, I don't know if you know this, but there's a wrestler named Kenta from Japan, and CM Punk almost took his entire moveset. Like he had the go to sleep, he had the running knee in the corner, he had all sorts of different like kicks that CM Punk uses, the spinning back fist, like everything that CM Punk uses is from this guy. And all his kicks in Japan are very violent and sickening looking. And then you see CM Punk using them in the WWE where he has to hold back a lot more and they don't come across as well.
Right. And see, I think a fake kick to the head or a foot stomp kick to the head looks better than these kicks across the stomach that actually do somewhat sting and hurt.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, why? Why do that? Because you're taking all these stings, and it's not real. The crowd just, they're not.
You know what kick I hate? What kick I absolutely hate? Wade Barrett's super kick to the stomach, or whatever the fuck he does.
Oh yeah, that or I don't like Sheamus's either. By the way,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
someone's gonna get another concussion from that when someone misses, because the way he does it, it's like a punt. But yeah, Wade Barrett's, I don't like that at all. How did Goldberg do when he did his kick to? Was that a super kick he did to Bret Hart? Do you remember? I don't remember how he did it.
It was a super kick while Bret was kneeling, I'm pretty sure, and it just hit him right in the back of the head.
So that's just Goldberg being a dingleberry.
Being a dick. Yeah.
Right. You're not looking. He just.
I like Jericho's kicks. Jericho knows how to kick in WWE style pretty well.
Yeah, I don't mind. Yeah, he's all right. He does a little bit of it too, and it's that like double knee pad, shin pad. I see everyone doing that. I don't like it. I could get away. Jericho, all right. But I feel the same way a lot of times about Jericho's match as with Punk's matches, where they're just not. They're not I feel like they could be better, and I feel like
they could.
Punk relies more on the full story and the emotion of everything, but he's definitely better than Cena. I'd rather watch Punk than Cena, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but I like Daniel Bryan's. I think he's got a lot of potential if WWE cut him loose in a match and said, go for it. Give us that indie stuff. Give us some of those old days. Give us Punk and Daniel Bryan from, ROH 6.
Yeah, that's the thing. They would need to do it with each other because Daniel Bryan can't use his old styles with anyone who doesn't know what he's doing, or else he might as well be fighting Khali.
Right. Everyone forgets that Daniel Bryan was fired by Vince during the Nexus thing when they tore everything apart and Daniel Bryan
the necktie thing.
Yeah, he tied it around Cena's throat and then spit on him or something, and then he got fired for that. And then it was
around. I forget. I think it was. It wasn't Michael Cole, or it might have been Michael Cole's throat that he had the necktie around.
Oh, okay. Whatever it was like not deemed
or like
PG.
Matt Stryker. I think it was Matt Stryker.
Oh yeah, who's doing drugs somewhere right now? Because he was fired.
Alex Riley took his spot. Yeah.
How funny is that, Matt Stryker? Yeah, well, whatever. WWE, another underutilized guy, but I think that he wouldn't have done much. He was another generic, good-looking guy who.
He was good at getting thrown around by Kane. That was pretty entertaining.
Right, and Alex Riley, same type of thing. Good-looking guy, but just kind of generic. Alex Riley.
Apparently, he gets really over at house shows for some reason.
He does. He's getting the Zack Ryder.
Yeah.
Now he's getting that. Yeah, he's like the Brooklyn Brawler right now. Everybody knows.
I still think he should be with the Miz because that was awesome.
Right. I don't know why.
That made the Miz better. Made him better.
Right.
It was like Ricardo Rodriguez, but like way funnier.
It was good. Yeah, that was good. That was a mistake breaking them up. And you know what else is a mistake? And this really eats at me because I hate R-Truth usually. I never liked him. I just don't like him. But
what's up?
Then he went nuts and started getting creepy. Seeing a kid, he was talking about things hurting people.
He smoked a cigarette and blew it on John Morrison's body for some reason.
Right. Like he was getting weird and sick, and I loved it. Oh my God, did I love it. He was bizarre. Even I think that's the biggest waste. I thought he got creepy, like attacked. He threw a drink on a kid's dad.
Not since Goldust have I been more like, what the fuck is this guy?
Exactly. And they just stopped and they were like, oh no, back to fucking whatever the hell he does. What the hell? What's up? What's up?
What's up?
Yeah, that's a real easy WWE. Good job. You put him back to a baby face fucking cheerleader. I thought he was so interesting when he was getting creepy. He
still holds the bottom rope for little Jimmy, but that's about it.
But yeah, now it's stupid. The minute they started turning it the other way, I was like, oh no, they're not doing this. They're not doing the Doink the Clown shit. Oh.
They should bring him into the Wyatts or the Shield or something and have him be like that weird loose cannon who they need but absolutely hate to work with because he's so crazy.
That's right.
Like, all right, we like our people crazy, but this guy's a little too crazy. You know what I mean?
I would love that. I think he is WWE, if you're listening ever, Triple H. Yeah, right. Triple H, you have to turn R-Truth insane again.
Give us a program with Dean Ambrose and R-Truth. That'd be perfect.
Right. Make him heel. Oh, my God. He was the best. For like 2 seconds. I think he had like 5 weeks when him and Miz started going rogue on everybody, saying there was some conspiracy. Yep. That was good stuff. I was impressed by that. My other favorite heel moment in the past PG era actually was the Chris Jericho CM Punk stuff.
Yeah.
When he was like breaking the Jack Daniels bottle and he was like, have another drink your father drank, all that was good. I love that.
It was borderline cheap, but he did it in such a way to where it came off as just like, ooh, which was actually very,
you're
very
right.
good. It worked out well.
It was very like, this has been done. This has already been done. This is easy. You're right. But it's just so bad now in the BG era that I was like, I was loving it. Because
watching them push the envelope was worth it, definitely.
Right. Just like the Brock Lesnar attacking Triple H, and Brock Lesnar got busted open. Although, despite Brock Lesnar being busted open and that thing with Triple H being awesome, the matches were terrible. The CM Punk Brock Lesnar promo from last week, was it last week when Brock Lesnar and Punk wrestled all over the place?
That was 2 weeks ago.
It was 2 weeks ago. That's right.
Yeah.
That was great. That was intense, I thought.
It was.
Hopefully,
I think that's the problem. Is Triple H is good and all, like on the mic and in the ring, he has a good style for people like the Undertaker. But Brock Lesnar is one of the most athletic and gifted talent that they've had in years. And to put him with Triple H, it really severely limits him. And like or hate Punk, he can go the distance and he can let someone expand to their full potential in the ring.
Right.
So I think Brock versus Punk is going to be something, we're all like, oh yeah, Brock's back. Yeah, we've seen him. Okay, who cares? I think this will really put him on the table as a completely different threat and a completely different type of wrestler. And we're all going to remember why we missed him so much.
Yeah, you're right. I think you're right. And I can't wait. I think I finally can't wait to order a pay-per-view. I'm not going to watch it illegally. I'm going to actually order a damn pay-per-view. I haven't ordered one. I ordered WrestleMania. Then I ordered, that was it, WrestleMania. And then I was like, that's it. I'm not paying money for this. What else? So that's it, man. Tomorrow night on Monday Night Raw, we'll find out what happens. The corporate makeover, I think, is going to be the focus of the entire show from the most part. It's a 3-hour show. It's going to stay because that's what USA Network wants. That's not what WWE wants, but I don't think. I'm pretty sure it's mostly just USA saying we want 3 hours. And I know it was USA who wanted the McMahons featured on the show again. So, what do you think about that?
I understand why USA has so many demands because their network kind of sucks a lot.
Right.
And people aren't watching TV in general unless it's sports almost. It's almost following that trend where we have Hulu and Netflix and all these other replacements. Yeah. People are hanging on to their cable because you can't watch sports on Netflix. That's stupid.
That's
and
right.
As much as WWE is a work or whatever, it's still a sport in that you have to catch it live or it's almost useless because of all the spoilers out there and everything.
You wait till one of those on-demand sports things pops up where every sport around the entire world or somehow they contract it all.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean,
that's going to kill it.
USA wants people watching their network, and this is one of the few things drawing people in. So of course they're going to make demands to try to milk everything they can out of it. But at the same time, I mean, if they think they know what sells and they're doing their own marketing research aside from the WWE, is it really that bad that they have someone else whispering in Vince's ear, aside from how internal it is and having Vince running the whole show and being completely rogue on his own, or Triple H or whoever it is, At least I like having an outside source that they listen to. Whether or not I agree with that source is one thing, but at least it means they're open, Yeah,
that's right. There's some kind of constraints. I'd like to see it in a TV-14 setting, though, not a PG, but... I'll never stop complaining about it. I should get over it, but I'm not going to.
We can do a show on that. We should do a show on that.
We can. I do have a YouTube video on Joe Cronin show about WWE PG or whatever. But yeah, we'll do one. We'll do one maybe tomorrow or tonight or whatever. We'll do one soon. That'll be the next video. Everybody, thanks for sticking around. If you stuck around this whole entire video, the music rolling there. Whoa. So that's it. It's I want you to subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. Send this video to all your friends who like wrestling. Follow me on Twitter at Joe Cronin Show. Tweet my Twitter, baby. Hit the like button. Like the video for me. Get those rankings up there. And leave a comment with questions or whatever we said here. You can comment below. We'll talk about them on the show next time. And tonight I'm going to be making a solo podcast, I think with just me, where I'm going to respond to all your questions and all your stuff. But I don't want to go any further on this podcast, guys. Thanks you so much for stopping by. The 12th Doctor was announced today. Some people know what I'm talking about. Some people don't. Most people don't. All right, guys. RageNetRadio.com. And this is YouTube.com/Joe Cronin Show. And we will see you tomorrow night live. After Monday Night Raw goes off the air, we go live here and talk and review Monday Night Raw right here from my channel. So stay subscribed. Look for the red Live Now icon after Raw goes off the air. Good night.